Hi, it's Rachel here. I hope you can see me. Got my phone around the wrong way, but I'm back out on Sunday morning unwitnessing. This is the turn off from the main road that witnesses come down on their way to the meeting, and if I turn this around you'll see my car over there, so they can't miss it. There, they've got to come past here. So anyway, that's what it looks like. I'm just thinking whether I'll I'll just cross the road. This time I've put my sign onto clear plastic with liquid chalk. I've written it back to front, and then I've backed it with black plastic so it shows up better. I think I might put some tape down there so it doesn't flap around. Okay, so it's quite a good posse. Yes, I've got my hood on. Okay, I'll just pop this. That's annoying, isn't it? Put this on here, and we can see cars that go past. Now, oh, it's still going. Right, tape, key, tape. And then I want to tell you a bit about a new book I've been reading, which I've finished reading. Just got to find the end of the tape here. Put a nice big piece of tape on that thing so it doesn't flap around. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I don't know if they'll stick very well. I think I might put another bit on. I've had to stick it to the wheel rim, and then it's a bit dirty, so I'll just try a little bit more. Okay, right, I don't know if you heard that toot before, but I think they didn't go into the Kingdom Hall Grove, but it might be someone that knows me. And I've had a bit of support from people in this neighbourhood that know me, that aren't witnesses. One offered to bring me cups of tea, but that's not really necessary because I'm only here a short time. Anyway, as you saw, my sign said Christians don't shun, but cults do. And I think witnesses would agree that an organisation or a church that shuns members, casts them out, never talks to them again, is a cult. But they can't see that that's the same thing that they do. But in New Zealand there's a cult on the west coast of the South Island called Gloria Vale, and there's about 500 people in it now, and they are a Christian fundamentalist group and have teachings not unlike witnesses, although they choose to isolate themselves, separate themselves from the world except for once every couple of years they hold a big concert that they put quite, you know, tens of thousands of dollars into producing, and they invite the public to that, and they hope that people get to see their way of life and how happy they are and what a well-oiled machine they are in their community, because it's a shared community. Nobody owns anything of their own. It's, you know, they work for businesses that the community owns, all their assets in a trust, and the individuals working in the businesses get paid, but then all their money, virtually all of it, goes into the trust, gets moved from their bank accounts into the trust. They don't actually have power over their own bank accounts. It's all done for them. So and I guess when they do that, when their money goes into the trust, it's like donating to a charity, and they probably get the tax credits from that. So in essence, really, it's pretty much tax-free, isn't it? But anyway, most witnesses would agree that they're a cult, and I know even as I was a witness, I was very fascinated with Gloria Vale. They wear uniforms. It's led by one very charismatic man who makes all the rules, basically. He has some men under him, shepherds and servants, but he makes all the rules. And it was his decision to introduce these dark blue long dresses and white headscarves that the women all wear, even the toddlers, the little girls, and the men all wear the same pants and a blue shirt. Everyone's identical. The men aren't allowed facial hair. Doesn't that ring a bell? The women have to grow their hair long. No makeup, jewellery. You know, there's a lot of very strict rules, and rules that are just plucked out of thin air by the leader, and he's like I said, very charismatic. And before he founded this community in New Zealand, he was a evangelistic preacher in Australia, and was very good at it apparently. But anyway, so he has this cult, and I've just been reading a lovely book. It's really good. It's called Daughter of Gloria Vale, My Life in a Religious Cult, and it's by a girl or a woman called Lilia, and I do forgive me, Lilia, if I pronounce your name wrong, Tarawa. It would be, if you said it properly as a Maori would, it would sound much better than that, but I feel self-conscious doing that. But anyway, so Lilia is like in her mid-20s now, and she left the cult along with her parents when she was about 18, I think, around about that age. And in her book she describes her life growing up in Gloria Vale, which had lots of happy times and lots of fun times, and she had wonderful relationships with her cousins, you know, great friendships. But it was very strictly regimented. They certainly learned a very good work ethic there, although, yeah, sounds like a bit too much work, really, maybe. But it's obviously served Lilia well, because in the short time that she's been out, she's done a lot of things with her life. And she learnt many skills while she was there, mainly of the domestic type, but then she taught herself skills on the computer that have she's done well with, you know, like graphic design and things. But anyway, in this community they also have arranged marriages, especially if you're a woman or a girl, because they marry off young. You know, Lilia was saying in her book that the leader considered that once a girl started menstruating, she was old enough to marry. And you can think some girls menstruate at age 10 or 11. So they didn't marry them off until they were about 16, the legal age in New Zealand. I see the cars just pulled out behind me in the driveway. I'm not over their driveway, but it's a bit awkward for people in this grove where I'm parked, but I hope they're understanding. I won't be here that long. I can see... oh no, he's not turning off. What is he? I'm just waiting to see if witnesses are driving past. The reason I'm wondering is because it was the annual general meeting in the States. Oh yeah, there's a witness going past now. That blue car that just went past. Yeah, I'm just wondering when they're going to watch the video of the annual general meeting, if it's going to be today, in which case they'll finish their meeting quite late, well past lunchtime, because it's what's the time? It's probably about 9:45 now in the morning. Meeting starts at 10 usually, so anyway, oh that's good. They'll be driving past. I'll sit here until, you know, maybe 10:10 to catch some of the late comers. So they'll be driving past hating me right now. Never mind. I have nothing to lose. Not now. Anyway, so I would really recommend reading Daughter of Gloryvale, because she describes what it was like growing up, and even though she didn't use the words cognitive dissonance, it came out clearly in her writing, and you could see the struggle that she had, the way she was torn between what her heart and her intelligence was telling her and what her leader was telling her that the Bible said. And he came across, even though he was capable of being loving, because the leader was actually Lilia's grandfather. You can imagine he was grandfather to a lot of children there. But he could be very harsh as well, and very, well, I guess pharisaical in his application of the Bible, you know, and he made rules. Like I said, the arranged marriages, and all the children were rostered onto jobs. You know, they'd have to get up very early in the morning, like if they were on preparing the dough for rising, for the bread, they would have to be up about 3:30 or something to do that. You know, they had school on site, which would end at the usual time, but straight after that they would have jobs they would have to attend to. So very busy lives. Anyway, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they shun those who leave. Those who leave are considered to have left God, to have abandoned God, to have left the truth, and are wicked. Satan's got them, and you're not really supposed to have anything much to do with them. Although Lilia was, earlier this year I believe it was, her and her siblings and I think her father, who were all out, were able to arrange a visit to the commune on the west coast. They were hoping to be able to catch up with relatives still there, but as soon as they got there they were pretty much whisked away to a room where they spoke just with the leader, and he gave them a tour around their old stomping ground and didn't really permit them to talk much at all, except for, you know, brief hellos and things to anyone else there. And it was clear that, you know, the people who they'd left behind there were pleased to see them and wanted to talk to them, but no, that's not allowed. So that was, I guess, a little bit disappointing for her, but you can clearly see, you know, the cult, that cult tactic there. So witnesses should be a little bit worried if they have this in common with Gloryvale. And of course we see other churches like the Exclusive Brethren or the Plymouth Brethren who also excommunicate and shun and actually interfere with people's marriages. You know, try to, if there's a couple, a married couple, and the husband goes AWOL, decides to leave the church, they will try to separate her from her husband. So they're very invasive, very controlling. These are all charitable organisations, believe it or not. They're all registered as charities, and to be registered as a charity you have to give evidence of public benefit. The public doesn't need to be the general public at large, but just the people within the group can be considered the public. So of course there are benefits of being in the group, but there is also tremendous harm basically in taking away the self-determination of members. You know, they are forced to adopt the beliefs of the group, of the leaders, and are punished for failing to adopt them or to preach them. So that's very harmful, and it's actually against human rights. You know, in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 18, one of the points in there says that a person should be able to change their religious belief without coercion, without any kind of interference. But of course, if you're in any of these groups, you can't just go and change your belief, start attending another church, without being punished, without being severed from all those that you love in the group. So that's coercion and a violation of human rights. But unfortunately, it's all very messy when you start addressing human rights, and you know, the Human Rights Act and the Charities Act in New Zealand are kind of deficient in the area of religion, and I hope this changes. I think if enough of the public come to realise that these organisations are considered charitable and are exempt from paying tax, they might be a little more unhappy about it and make more demands on the government to make changes. So I'm hoping that will happen in time, but people have to make a noise about it first. What you can do is write to the Charities Services or Charity Commission, whatever it's called in your country, and write to the Human Rights Commission and express your concerns, because they might not really fully appreciate the problems with these groups and how detrimental they are to people, and how ultimately they are a cost on the taxpayer when people have to seek professional help and counselling to deal with the trauma of being part of one of these groups and then leaving it and losing everyone. So please do make the effort to write. You don't have to say much. Also, you could write or get in touch with a local MP. Just make your voice known. And there are so many pages on Facebook linked to these things that you can leave comments, and then people can comment on your comment and just start making a noise. Write to some of these online news services and, you know, journalists. Nothing's going to happen if people don't complain and make a noise. So that's what my advice is, my 2 cents worth. Anyway, what is the time? Oh, I can't see it because I've still got my camera going. So well, I don't want to bore you anymore. Perhaps I'll just stop there. Bye for now.